Hey, VC, Sean from Buzzbomb Records coming at you again from the bunker. Yeah, it's been a couple weeks, 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks since I did my last post. And it's been super busy with work. You know, May and June is crazy time for me every year. And so, just a lot of long days, a lot of hours. And so I'm usually spent, by the end of the day, not much energy to do much. And then on the weekends, I've been out just trying to get out of the house, man. Get out and do some stuff. Finally opened up the golf courses here. So we've been playing on Saturdays, every Saturday, the past few weeks, which has been great. Just, again, to get out of the house, start doing some things again. And then also, I took the plunge and started the major reorg of all of my stuff. And so I think I started that over the holiday, whatever that was, a couple weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks ago. Anyway, if you'd watched my first couple videos, you kind of heard me explain how I've kind of had stuff strewn about here. Downstairs, I've got shelves in here and out there, and all those. Some of it was arranged in pockets by genre. A lot of it wasn't, and so it just, and I remember how it got that way. It just, probably me being lazy and just never, I always thought I was going to get around to doing it, and I just kept buying more stuff and then shoving more stuff in the shelves, and then here I am, several years later going, man, none of this stuff's in order. So anyway, so I took the plunge, started working on that, and man, it's been a challenge. I'm probably 48 hours in, and maybe 48 working hours in over multiple days, but maybe a third of the way through, and I think it was Billy was saying he was kind of doing the similar kind of thing, and he kind of got to his country section and was just like, geez, a lot of records. And for me, it was the same. So my hardcore punk metal is a lot, and so I started with those, and I'm almost through those. I still have a few left to do, but having to kind of stage everything, and then again, I'm trying to thin stuff out too, because I've got doubles and triples of stuff for whatever reason, man, that I just don't need to have. And so so having to look through each pressing and pick the stuff that you're going to keep, and then what needs to be cleaned. Just kind of going through. It's almost, handling every single record of thousands, and so it's taken forever. So that is the other reason. Haven't been posting anything. I've got a stack of new stuff out there to show that I've been wanting to do, and that I've kind of been collecting here over the last couple months, getting stuff in the mail, and then a couple other ideas that I had that I wanted to do, but just, again, haven't got around to doing it. And so last night, I was kind of flipping around and saw Vinyl Rich do a response or a contest entry for, AGK's 100 subs contest. 5 albums over 5 decades, and I thought, man, that's kind of cool. And I love doing these kinds of things. That's how I got into doing videos, was doing a response, and they're just fun. They're fun because for me, I kind of look at it and I don't try to overthink it, and I try to just rip stuff off the top of my head as quick as I can to kind of keep it just It's fun. So I saw Rich's last night. I watched then I went and watched AGK's kind of lead in for it, and his video, and so I thought I'd give it a whirl. The place that I decided to start, I know he said five albums over 5 decades. I'm going to kind of cheat just because I thought that would be kind of fun too, see if I could extend that maybe. And so the place I chose to start, and we'll just go ahead and dive right in. And I'm going to start in 1956. Mr. Presley here. So I think technically this was his second album or collection of songs. I think not most, but a lot of artists back in this time, their albums were just collections of singles. And so some of this stuff was probably released on singles, or in fact I think all of it was. And then he had a record before this called just Elvis, which again, similar kind of thing. But this one here, just again, iconic cover. This again is the first press mono version of this. I can't remember if this was in my dad's collection or not, or when I got this, but anyway, classic cover. In fact, I've got another one of these upstairs in a frame on the wall next to the Clash London Calling cover, because that was a kind of a rip of this, and it kind of looks cool having them next to each other. But anyway, so 1956, Elvis Presley. This one's got blue suede shoes. I think it's probably the most, well, Tutti Frutti, but we know the Little Richard version of that too. And I Got a Woman, but blue suede shoes probably the most popular one off this. So, and again, Elvis Presley, first press, and that is on the RCA, the black label, RCA Victor. There. This is a pretty clean copy, man. And again, I can't remember where I got that. I had it for a while though, I know that. Okay, so that's 56. 10 more years. That puts us to 1966, and another awesome album. I'll probably use this for my screen cap, just because, again, another iconic record. This particular one, first press, is an extremely sought-after record. And I did pick this one up here locally. Again, that's probably because these guys were, and I guess still are, a local band, but probably easier to find this up here in the Pacific Northwest area. But the Sonics, Boom. If you're not familiar with this record or the Sonics, I guess in general, I mean, these guys, I would say, and I think a lot of people consider them kind of the grandfathers of garage rock, and even punk rock to a certain degree, but really garage rock in that early 60s, kind of to mid 60s, late 60s, kind of just, I don't know, you hear MC5 in this, you know, you hear, and then subsequently Stooges, and I mean, trust me, if you haven't listened to this, go back and do it, and you'll be amazed by probably the direct influences you'll hear immediately when you listen to this record. So in just a couple of songs, I mean, He's Waiting in particular, that's the first song on Second Side. And they've got a version of Louie Louie on here. I don't know who technically wrote that, or who. I'm pretty sure it was a cover for these guys to do it, but their version of it, man, is way more hard. It's not hardcore, but it's hard in comparison to the Kingsman one, the one that got all famous. So, just again, classic garage, awesome screaming, mono-ish kind of sound, and it's just thrash, and it's I don't know, I just love it. I know why people are looking for this. It's a great record. So Sonics, Boom, 1966. So the original press was on this purple label here, Etiquette. Again, super clean copy. Again, those first presses are not easy to find. So Sonics, Boom, 66. 1976. This couldn't have got any easier for me. And again, you guys are probably going to get tired of me saying this, but you know that I'm going to show a Kiss record. So 1976, Kiss Rock and Roll Over. My favorite Kiss record. I don't want to say by far, but you know, because I certainly like the live stuff. In fact, I mean, I shouldn't even say that. I like a lot. I like Dress to Kill. I mean, but from a studio album perspective, this is probably my favorite. Listen to this umpteen million times. So 1976, Kiss Rock and Roll Over. I mean, I can't really say much more about this. I mean, everybody I know that's a Kiss fan generally will put this in their top 5. If not, again, their top couple. Again, Kiss Rock and Roll Over, 1976. And I'm going to nerd out on you and show a couple things here. This is the standard Camel label, 1976. It came with the insert. And a cool little story on these, if you guys didn't know, there's a couple reasons that they did it this way. So you had your Kiss Army insert, and then the sticker. Man, I gotta be careful. This thing is kind of coming apart. But this was a sticker, and it came in the original pressings. And one of the reasons that they did it this way, to include some of that stuff, was to prevent, I guess not necessarily prevent, but to keep people from bootlegging. Not necessarily bootlegging, but counterfeiting. And so, in other words, I guess back in the day it wasn't uncommon for pressing plants to, if they had an order for, well, let's say 500,000 records, they'd print 500,000 records. Casablanca would send them 500,000 of the inserts. And then, by some reason, there would be another 100,000 or so that made it out the door without the inserts. And those would be excess, or, again, some people call them counterfeits because they weren't counted. They weren't official, but I guess that was common practice back then. So that's one of the reasons that they had those inserts in there. So anyway, stop rambling on that. This one here I wanted to show you. Again, it's part of my nerddom. Kiss nerddom. So if you look right here on Paul, you see on his, I guess that would be his left eye, 2 blue, what look like teardrops. So this is the teardrop cover, and it was actually a Columbia house. So some people call it an error. It's obviously it's a print kind of error thing, but this is one of the versions. So when I talk about my Kiss nerddom of extra, stuff that I go look for and trying to be collecting all the different variants, this is one of them. So this is the blue tier. Again, it's a Columbia house. I think it was Columbia House, yeah, before RCA. But this one's on the Filmworks label. But again, what makes that one cool or different is the blue tier. So, and again, you find these things all the time. They're not super expensive, but people are looking for them. So if you're out and about and you're in the wild and you're looking to see a rock and roll over cover, look and see if it's got the blue tier. If it does, get it. Okay, so that's 76, 1986, and this was when I kind of thought about 86. This was my wheelhouse for punk and alternative stuff. This is when I was in college, and so man, I had a list. I mean, a huge list of records I could have gone through. So I looked at it. I'm like, what did I probably listen to more than anything in 1986? Is kind of, I guess, the way I decided to sort it, and it was this one. So Bad Brains, Eye Against Eye. As I always say, played the crap out of this thing in school. Still one of my favorite records. This was, I think, their one only studio they did on SST. But great record. Technically, maybe it's technically been their second vinyl. I know they had the Roar sessions. I had that on cassette, and then Rock for Light, and then this one, I think. But anyway, awesome Bad Brains record. If you're not into Bad Brains, you don't know who they are, go check them out. Significantly influential hardcore band out of DC. A really unique sound. The guy HR, who was the lead singer for these guys. In fact, that reminds me. So there's a documentary out on Amazon if you've got it, and I can't remember what it's called, but it's about him, the singer HR for these guys, and kind of what he's been through in his life and kind of his later struggles. But really kind of eye-opening a documentary, whether you're into this kind of music or not, but it's really cool. And funny little fact about that I learned because of that documentary is one of the songs on here called was it Sacred Love, I think. The vocals were done while he was in prison, and so it sounds like, if you've heard that telephone sound effect, they actually purposefully do on vocals now. There's actually, you can get it in Pro Tools. It's like a stock freaking plug-in. You can make it sound like you're on a telephone. He was actually singing on a telephone from prison on this recording of that. So funny little fact there. Bad Brains, Eye Against Eye, 1986. It's on the green SST. Awesome record. And again, I am just blabbering. These are taking way too long. Where am I? 86, 96. This one was pretty easy too. This Winehouse. Another documentary I just watched. This one I think was on Access the other night. I don't know if it was the one about the record, if it's one about her specifically, but phenomenal piece of music here. And I can't say how awesome it is because it's so distinct and so just raw in so many ways. And again, you watch the documentary, it really kind of puts this into context, what this is about, and where she was in her life, and how they came up with the tunes, and actually how she did. I mean, I was blown away by the fact that I think she wrote most of this, if not all of this, on an acoustic guitar. And then I can't remember the name of the backing band, but then how those guys envisioned it, and the producer, and I mean, it turned out just a piece of work that's just, I mean, so tragic that she's gone, because I mean, she was super talented, and this is an awesome record. Again, I'm not going to go through all the songs on here, but I can't imagine you're not familiar with this. But if you haven't heard it, please go listen to Amy Winehouse, Back to Black. This was 1996. Again, first release. Has been re-released a few times. It's on this label. But Amy Winehouse, that's my 1996. So where are we now? 96. We are at 2006. Oh yeah, 2006. Another one of my favorite records. So Beck, Odelay is what I picked for 2006. This is in fact an original press. This one's still sealed, so I actually had a repress of this before I found this one, so I have left this one sealed. Some weird like that, but awesome record. Out of all of his stuff, this is my favorite by far. I mean, Mellow Gold is cool, but this one, I mean, the songs on this, the whole first side, Devil's Haircut, Hot Wax, the New Pollution, I mean, and I guess Where It's At, that second side. But anyway, this whole thing, again, it's one of the records that when I put it on, I listen to the whole thing because it's that good. Again, it's that unique. I probably don't need to say too much about Beck, but one of the things that makes him so cool is every single record sounds different than the last one. And although I've got all his stuff since this, I mean, to be honest, I really don't listen to it really hardly at all. I listen to this one all the time, though. And out of all of his stuff, this is really what I listen to. So this was a no-brainer for me for 2006 to pick Beck Odelay. And I got a couple versions of this, like I said. I've got the repress version, and then I thought I would also show, again, this was the same cover, but the vinyl on this one is the colored, because this is cool. It's got the bong load on it anyway. I can't remember what year this repress came out, but I mean, the vinyl's super cool. Really good pressing. In fact, this is the pressing I listen to. And this is why it's out of the box. Okay, so we're almost done here. So I went well past, I guess, the 5. I don't know where I'm at now, but I started at 1956. Elvis. 66 was Sonic. 76 was Kiss, Rock and Roll Over. 86 Bad Brains. 96 Amy Winehouse. 2006 Beck. And then to finish it off, I'm going all the way to 2016. And another one of my faves, because I'm biased, Mr. Fraley. And another stellar album. So this is Origins Volume 1 by Ace Frehley. So there's covers on here. There's versions of Kiss songs that he wrote that didn't sing on. When the original recordings are on here, like Cold Gin. And what was the other one on here? Yeah, Cold Gin and Parasite. So 2 classic Kiss songs that he wrote, but didn't sing on the records because I guess he was too shy to sing. So he let Gene sing those songs on the originals. But so then he went back and redid them. as a part of this set of songs. So again, covers and stuff. Really, really good record. Again, I can sit and talk about Ace all day long. One of my favorite guys around. He is probably my favorite guitar player. But great record. 2016. Ace Frehley Origins. I hear he's doing another one of these. They're in the works now. But this is the Rockologist's version. So those of you that don't are wondering who that is, so Rockologist is Tom Shannon. And if you watch seen any other Kiss podcasts, there's a couple groups, like Kiss My Wax and Kiss My Collect. I think he was on Kiss My Wax. Anyway, but that's his company, is Rockologist, and he's done a few of these kind of specific releases. So like this one here, it is, and I'll show you the vinyl, but that came with the poster, and then the Rockologist vinyl is this. Again, super cool, kind of bluish, black smoke. Again, specific label for the Rockologist version. And again, I think Tom only did like 200 of those, so those are not easy to find either. But then it came in a standard. Actually, this is another blue one, but I can show you the gatefold. Standard version. Oh, that was the blue version. This is the standard version. Again, I'm a nerd, so I have all these different versions. And then finally, the FYE version, which really the only difference on this one was the black kind of surround there on the cover. So anyway, that's my 2016 Ace Frehley Origins. So I know I did more than 5. I don't. Hopefully that doesn't disqualify me from the contest, because it was fun. And I'll say this too. There was another track that I have, actually 2 more that I prepared. I prepared one from starting in 57. With Little Richard, and then starting in 55 with Frank Sinatra. And I chose this track because I thought this one was cooler, but if anybody wants to see the other ones, just let me know, and I'll show you the other tracks, the other 2 that I had done. Specifically the 55 one, because when I got to 1985, that was the same, list of records like this long of just ones that they're super. If you look at, when I eventually get around to posting my favorite records of all time kind of time frames, that time for me in college, it was super tough for me to pick even one of those. That was the other reason I didn't do that one, because that one was even harder to try to pick one for 85. So anyway, hopefully you guys liked this. Good to see everybody again. Thanks for watching as always, and we'll catch you on the next one. Thanks again.